6-2, busted up Ducks. Oh man, what's on the menu tonight? That was a ridiculous goal number 5 from Mr. McDavid there. Unbelievable. Not only does he do a good job of hanging on to the puck after he sort of went down there, but the patience and that fucking little extra stick handling, basically Deke Gibson senseless from the side of the net, just unbelievable. You know, they were praising Matthews the other day for basically a failed lacrosse style goal that he turned into just kind of a backhand pass across to William Nylander, and you know, saying that's changing the game, so to speak. Well, that fucking goal by McDavid was something else. And yeah, there's banquets down here too. Yeah, I just don't know how cold they are. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. It's not super cold, but it'll do. Yeah, I liked that game. It was fun. It was fun to see us blow a team out, especially the Ducks, because I really can't stand them. I hate the Ducks more than I hate the Flames or the Leafs or any other goddamn team in the league. It's not ashamed to say it. That's how I feel. I mean, I guess Matthew Tkachuk being part of the Flames now will probably help ratchet up that Flame hate again. But yeah, after that meeting in the playoffs with Getzlav taking liberties and Perry and Kessler and the whole crew just kind of running roughshod against us, it's nice to see us blow them out and kick the shit out of them. I enjoyed it. It's funny though, who got all the fucking power plays? Sure wasn't Edmonton. Like, when did Anaheim become this clean team that gets the calls? Like, they sure got the calls in the playoffs against us, you know, but far from a fucking angelic team, that's for sure. Yeah, not too many passengers on board tonight either. Everybody was kind of, you know, to use a New England Patriots phrase, doing their job. Penalty killing was rock solid, and Mikko had a pretty strong game. He's playing really controlled hockey, and it's good to see. I think we've had, you know, pretty good goaltending most nights from both him and Mike Smith, and that's certainly encouraging. And it's sort of looks like, you know, Calgary acquiring Talbot there. They don't have much faith or trust in Cam, so they're riding David Rittich pretty hard. And Rittich is a pretty good goalie, but seems already that it's kind of, he's having sort of that same problem that Mikko ran into last year. When you play him all the time, guy gets tired, and hard to you know, win games or play a full season with just one goalie. I really think it's a league now where you need two kind of capable goalies. Scores seem to be up, and like 6-2, and Eakins didn't even pull Gibson there. I was like, my son says, well, if they give up another, they'll pull him. I'm like, no, if they haven't pulled him after 6, they're not going to pull him after 7. Crazy. It's nice to beat out Dallas Eakins, but it's even nicer to beat the Ducks. I can't stand them. Loved every minute of it. Delicious victory, in my opinion. Oh, Yeah, the Oilers are going to have an interesting little conundrum here too coming up right away when Adam Larson is actually good to go. What do you do then? Because really, honestly, right now, I like the makeup of our back end. It seems to click right now. So who do you pull, or who do you sit, or who do you trade, or what are you into here? Because something's got to happen. Oh, and you kids are all real quiet tonight. You know what? I don't have really any issue with Person. He doesn't try to do too much. He's just kind of playing a pretty safe game from what I see right now. So I don't really take issue with the kid. I think him and Clefbaum actually work pretty well together. So I don't know what you do. And there's other guys down on the farm too that are close to being at this level too. Like Caleb Jones is kind of right there. And I don't like Chris Russell when they're trying to make him play on the right side there when they had him up with Clefbaum a little bit, and that I think he gets into trouble when he's on his offside. But when they have him on his right side, like right now with Matt Benning, I think those two are fine. So I don't know. I don't know what you do. But I think if you end up getting Adam Larson up to the level when he was playing with in the World Championships, there, if you get him kind of playing like that for us, we can use that. Yeah, it's kind of my thinking too. Is that maybe you take somebody off the blue line, and maybe some of those forwards that really aren't doing a whole bunch, and string together a couple of pieces to bring in another forward that can help you. I mean, having some capable defense is a good problem to have, but maybe you do something with those guys on the back end to try to bring in some of that much needed secondary scoring. I don't know. We're in a spot right now where I don't think you want to mortgage the future for right now, but I also think you don't want to just sit idle and not do anything, because we might have something here right now. So why not do a little bit of tinkering and see where you can take it. We have some guys right now playing some pretty good hockey, so. And I don't limit that to just McDavid and Draisaitl. Nurse and Bear look like a really strong pairing. They don't get into too much trouble. I think I want to see those two together for a long time. I think with Nurse's physicality and size and presence, he allows Bear to take his time and be patient and make those outlet passes and stand guys up at the blue line and play a fairly aggressive style, because he knows that Darnell's got him covered up, and sort of vice versa. In lots of games, Nurse is jumping up in the play. He seemed more patient tonight. But I don't know. games like tonight or the ones against St. Louis and the sort of big, strong, mean, nasty kind of teams in the league, I still think you want a guy like Darnell Nurse in your lineup. I'll die on that fucking hill. I don't mind the idea of Evan Bouchard playing a complete season in the AHL, but you do need to, have a plan for him to be a part of this next year and years to come. So something's got to give, I think, on your right side. You know, Benning, Larson, Bear, which I think Bear is a guy you want in your lineup, and if you've got Bouchard, then leaves sort of an odd man out. So Anaheim, the Kings, and the Sharks on this little trip. It'd be nice to come out of this, with three wins on a road trip again, and really fucking put the hammer down towards a playoff position. I think it's doable too. I mean, you're playing against struggling teams, so you just get on them early and keep on them, and I think San Jose underestimated what Joe Pavelski meant to their team. I think letting him walk to Dallas was a pretty big mistake on their part. That move actually sort of baffles me that they let their captain walk out the door. Yeah, it's almost like them kind of going after Erik Karlsson sunk their franchise. Almost makes me think, sometimes the moves you don't make are more important than the ones you do make. Like, I know a lot of Oiler people wanted us to swing for the stars for Erik Karlsson, but I'm sort of glad that didn't pan out. I think we're in a better spot on our D-core now, without having Erik as a part of it. Not that he was going to come to another Canadian city anyways, but I know lots of people that wanted him. To be perfectly honest, I'd rather have Brett Burns than Erik Karlsson myself. I think health-wise, Burns is in better spot that way, but also I think Burns has more diversity to his game. He can make the long stretch pass and he can defend well, but also he can play a physical style. Larson was talking like he was be ready in a week and a half, and Tippett said 2 weeks, but I think that was the word on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe the coach is saying 2 weeks because they need to figure out what the hell they're gonna fucking do with their lineup to make room for him. So maybe Tippett was buying Ken Holland some time with that. And also Adams looking at it from a player's perspective, so maybe he's wanting to be in there, you know, maybe a little bit quicker than when he'd be actually ready. Got to tell my girlfriend that my hoodie actually smells like her perfume still. Hi, Kim. I need to have this so this can be like a call-in show where you guys phone in and chirp back and forth instead of me just reading your comments. But and apparently Facebook is now actually working, so if I have any kids watching me on Facebook, hi, but I don't see your messages because I only look at my phone through my Periscope app here. So one day I'll get fucking a little bit more sophisticated and have whatever you're saying to me and telling me where to go off of Facebook on here too. But yeah, like I guess my sister was probably the only one that watched me off of Facebook last time. So hi, sis. And I stream like to Facebook and Periscope, which most of you are watching off of, and also YouTube. But so far, the whole YouTube channel thing is a bit of a joke. I think I get like 4 or 6 viewers or something like that on there. So it's not really a big audience. Everybody says how wonderful YouTube is and how you can get so many viewers and that, but I don't know. My ratio sometimes is like 1,000 viewers from Periscope to two viewers off YouTube. So I don't believe whatever they're trying to sell me on. Cheers. Oh. Nuge got it going tonight too. I guess that sort of gets lost after McDavid wowed us with that ridiculous goal there off the rush. But Nuge has, like, he possesses a lethally accurate wrist shot, and it was nice to see him get that one on his second goal there on the far side, where he sniped it. The guy can shoot the puck. I just wish he would shoot it more and look to shoot it more, get into spots and let it go, because he can pick his corners. And Draisaitl with a kind of a casual 4 assists tonight. Sorry, I'm just wondering, how does the mic sound? Can you hear me good? Sounds good. Okay. And has there been any fucking delay in the feed, or like I'm on pause sometimes, or is it all right? It doesn't seem like I've had any fucking glitches on my end, but it's good. Okay. All right. Maybe it's that Florida connection down there that's kind of a little bit fucky there, fake Canadian. Yeah, I could handle us playing hockey until June. That would be great. Let's take this to mid-April and May, and then go from there. But well, Stamkos, yeah, he's turned into a hacker instead of a hockey player, huh? Oh, what's going on with them Bolts? They're not fucking tearing it up there. I don't know. The Bruins. Kimmy's team, lots of people are saying is the best team in hockey right now. So, yeah, got to go overseas to win some games. That's perfect. I think Brian went over to Facebook to fucking chirp me over on Facebook there, but he's back now. Cheers, my bud. Gotta go put some beers in the snowbank here and cool them off. They're fucking warm. Oh. Yeah. Hitchcock, I don't know, man. He's still sort of, I guess, connected to the team in some sort of way, but where the fuck was Gene Principe tonight, though? That other guy they had fucking helping out there, man. Basic Bob there. That was nuts. That whole broadcast was like out of sorts. I don't know. The future of Sportsnet. Here we go. We got fucking plain chips. Hi guys, I brought the Ripple chips. Crazy. The other night, this fucking guy called into Overtime Open Line wanting to trade Draisaitl. I just about died. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, that guy was terrible. Yeah, I don't know. Eakins, oh man, I don't have any real love for Dallas Eakins. I don't think a lot of people do, but yeah, no, he didn't exactly coach a talent-filled roster whatsoever. But yeah, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for the guy. Maybe his time with Edmonton and having to go back to the farm and kind of work his way back up and all that, maybe he developed a little bit of a personality. Although tonight leaving Gibson in there for 6, I question that. I would have gave Gibson a mercy pull after it became 5-2. It kind of speaks though to maybe Anaheim doesn't have shit for a backup though. If you don't trust the other guy to bring him in either. I don't know. Yeah, really, the Ralph Kruger dismissal was probably Craig McTavish's really sort of the Oilers management's worst move up until the Shirley days. He didn't deserve the axe, and he definitely didn't. Nobody deserves the axe via Skype. That's such a chicken shit way to get rid of somebody. Oh, well, I think the Taylor Hall saga kind of got reignited by Elliot Friedman thinking that the Devils were going to fucking deal him after 13 days in October. So that got all that going, and then, of course, there's still people that hold on to a Taylor Hall sort of love affair. I'm indifferent towards Taylor Hall. I don't really have any bad feelings to the guy, and I don't. I'm in no love affair with the guy either. I mean, Max used to love him. He associated everything with Taylor Hall when he was 4 years old, and he thought Taylor and him were the same because he was 4 years old and Taylor was number 4 and all this. But I think he's a good hockey player, but I wouldn't try to sell everybody to just acquire him. Nice winger to have, but if you're gonna have to give up, the strength you have on the blue line, or a bunch of Nugent Hopkins or whatever to or Nuge plus to acquire Taylor, I don't see that being worth it. I don't think that's what we need. Well, if he's a $10 million player in the future, he might be more than that, but if he's a $10 million guy, that's Nugent and basically Nurse and you know either a farm player or Matt Benning, and I don't know if I would do that. To me, that's you're giving too much for what you're getting back. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's in his head or whatever, but I definitely wouldn't give away everybody to get a guy that you know walks in October. I don't know. It's too much. It's yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of people that hold a candle for Taylor Hall in Edmonton, but I'm not one of them. I think right now it's looking different areas. And honestly, I know a lot of people want to see McDavid on one line, Draisaitl on another line, and then you've sort of got like what they have in Pittsburgh, where you have Crosby on one line, Malkin on another, and the way you go. But I just think there's such a dynamic duo. It's like Jordan and Pippen. You want them both out there at the same time. I don't know if I would go away from that. So bringing in Taylor Hall, a left winger, to play with Nuge, how do you afford it? I don't think you can. And if you're dealing Nuge to bring him in and whatever, I think you're just trying to put a patch on one area of a boat and causing another hole in another area, and to me it doesn't make sense. To me, I see kind of our problem right now with the way our team is constructed is they just need some depth guys, on the third and fourth line to be able to contribute. They don't need another 20, 30, 40 goal scorer. They need some contributions from some depth guys. And that's not Taylor Hall. That's how I see that. Yeah, a good third line center, or some good third line wingers that can score. Some guys with some hands. Yeah, I don't know. You're getting steady goaltending right now out of Mikko. He's been good. He's been capable. I really liked his game tonight against Anaheim. If Talbot was in net tonight, even if he wasn't allowing the first shot goal, when Anaheim started to bring the pressure at the start of the third period, I think Talbot would have, crumpled under that pressure. Mikko's so big, and he just stands in there, and that pressure didn't get to him at all. He was just steady and solid, and he had a great game. And Mikko, it was good to see him in there. I think if that same sort of heat kind of got to Mike Smith probably would have went a little Billy Smith, and I would have liked that. But I don't know if that wins you the hockey game. You know, Miko was just totally unflappable and didn't let anything rattle him. He was good. I noticed though, like Koskinen, he's really out to gather up pucks and kind of make a little pass here and there. I think the sort of seeing Mike Smith, you know, with his puck handling ability, is sort of helped Miko adapt his game a little bit to be a little bit more active and play a few more pucks that he probably normally wouldn't. I don't think he gets crazy with, you know, being ultra aggressive or anything, but he is a little bit more active in there, and I think it's a good thing. Yeah, our goaltending has been fairly solid. There hasn't really been too many games really that you can look at and say, you know, we had shitty goaltending tonight. Um, I think, you know, the game that I went to where we played the Kings, Mike Smith was pretty active in there and made a blowout game for the Oilers into a close game. But after the score in that game was 2-2, Mike Smith settled right down, and I think it was like partway through the second and the third, he was actually really solid. He was overzealous in the net, you know, on the first one and the second goal in that game, but after that he just settled right in there and he was really good. I think this you know, play a couple games, sit, let the other guy play a couple games. I think it's keeping these guys hungry and fresh, and you know, you kind of have that old school mentality where you'd like to ride a goalie until they lose, but I don't know. Tippett's got it figured out. It's seeming to work. It sort of galvanizes the next guy to come in and take off. You know, take off from where the last guy left it and push on, and I think it makes them work hard to try to get a win every night. Yeah, it's early, but I mean it's going in the right direction, and a lot of times, you know, for an athlete, it's about confidence. If you don't have it, it's hard to get it, but when you have it, it's hard to lose it. And right now they're a confident group. And I don't see the real games like where they come out and lay a complete egg. There doesn't seem to be much of that. Honestly, like they've lost a few games this year, yeah, but a lot of them haven't been for a lack of trying or just, you know, dogging it. There was two games I think where Rashog was trying to say they were all hungover and this and that, and I don't know. I don't know. You're not going to win every game, but I don't know about the whole hangover thing. I think it was around Leon's birthday. These guys are pros. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, you know, I Tippett it kind of gained my eye when I early in the in training camp. I went and I watched a practice, and Tippett is engaged and he is in there and he is hard and you know, he's right in their grill, and he actually talks to people rather than to like an area. He's looking at you, and he doesn't let you get away with much. He doesn't really leave a lot to his assistants. He's kind of got the shovel and he's in there digging himself. I appreciate the guy a lot. You know, he's leading drills and kind of, you know, wants the defenseman to go and pick up a puck and start a breakout or whatever, and other people to go in and attack him. Well, he's shooting pucks into the corner and he's rifling it. Like, it's not just flipping it in there. He's hammering it in there, and he's just engaged, and No, I think he's great. I think he's somebody that they've actually needed for a long time. We've had coaches that kind of know their stuff, but are a little bit more of kind of a passenger when it comes to actually, you know, going through drills and getting right after it. He's my kind of coach. Yeah, he caught my eye when I watched him run practice. It's not like a lot of the guys in the past that just sort of go through the motions and have a job. There's a care level there that's been needed and missed for a long time. Yeah, Hitchcock still works for the Oilers. Yeah, you need the stash. Pretty easy to get hype after a team with 5 cups. Yeah, Hitchcock did look like a pallbearer. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think the Flyers will get past the Bruins, but good luck. Bruins are coming out of the East again. Yeah, you can beat them in the regular season, but you're not beating them in the playoffs. All Flyers all the time here on. Right from cell block 99. It's all Flyers all the time. Yeah, Washington's not a bad team, but we beat the Capitals. My philosophy on the Eastern Conference is as long as it's not Toronto, I'm cool. Yeah, I would look to move Matthew Benning or Chris Russell before I would look to move Adam Larson. It's funny that there's a whole school of thought too that you can't possibly move Adam Larson because you know he's the guy that you got for Taylor Hall, so it brings that all up again. I just think that it's more about you know improving your club. Who gives a shit about the whole trade tree kind of shit? If you can make a move that's gonna improve your hockey club, then that's what you need to do. Jason Moss, well, he won a game today, so I guess that makes him safe for another day. But I don't know. It would be pretty fucking hilarious if the Eskimos, did enough to kind of just squeak into the playoffs, and they win another football game, and all of a sudden they're in the Grey Cup, and Calgary got bounced today, and so make your way into the Grey Cup there and win it off of a fucking, like, that's the CFL in a nutshell. You can have a horseshit season and still be the champs. It's not very often you see that sort of in the NFL, where a team just kind of barely squeaks into the playoffs, and they kind of march on to the Super Bowl and win it. So that's sort of the difference between the CFL and the NFL. It doesn't seem like a fluke or a random event where teams just barely eke into the playoffs and end up winning the Grey Cup. It seems to be more of a regular occurrence. Yeah. Yeah. Tom's a bit of an enigma. I think he could kind of be a little bit of Yarmer Yager. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. What do you want to see here? I got I don't know, somewhere here. Oh, yeah. There we are. I have that in a hoodie. That's the extent of my Patriots paraphernalia. What's my take on Eichel? I don't know. What do you want to know? I haven't really kept up with Buffalo as of late. I think they went on a little bit of a slide, but they were on fire to start the year. I know that. Yeah, every time I play music, I end up getting fucking shut down from a few sites. So next time I do it, I guess I just won't post to other sites. I'll just go on here. Carter Hart, best goalie in the NHL. I don't know. I think right now probably the best goalie in the NHL is probably Marc-Andre Fleury, to be honest. But Fleury has games where he's fucking incredible, and then on a rare occasion he can really shit the bed. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on Carey Price anymore. I think for a while he was the best goalie in the NHL, but I think, you know what, if you're quizzing me on Jack Eichel, I think Rasmus Dahlin is probably a little bit more of a cornerstone of a franchise, but beginnings of a nice group there in Buffalo. Where do you rank Claude Giroux among NHL best players? Yeah, I would probably say top 20. There's a question that would drive Leafs fans nuts, though. Is Giroux better than Matthews? That's a good question. I don't know. I look at Austin Matthews and I think he's got an amazing shot and is a good player. But my drawback with him is I think there's a little bit of a difference between him and sort of McDavid and Draisaitl. And McDavid and Draisaitl usually give you the same game night in, night out, and it seems to be that Austin Matthews shows up sometimes, and sometimes he doesn't. If if you're talking about Claude Giroux versus Austin Matthews, I think boy, yeah, that's I don't know. How old is Kucherov? I'm not really sure. Back to the Giroux Matthews thing though. The one thing I don't really like about Austin Matthews is when shit hits the fan, he seems to pack a suitcase and run away from it, and Claude Giroux would be right in there. So I mean, Claude Giroux to me is more of a leader than Austin Matthews. And yeah, I don't get to see Nikita Kucherov enough to really comment on it. I know what Leon can do on the ice, and I know what kind of player he is, and some of the things he can do. I don't know. Yeah. I think at times this year, I mean, I think Leon's been the best player in the league, even better than Connor, but yeah, no, I know Matthews is younger, but it's just a different mentality there. I don't hate Matthews just because he plays for Toronto. I really don't care. I honestly, I don't really have anything against Leaf players themselves. My biggest issue with the Toronto Maple Leafs is that TSN and Sportsnet and sort of Canadian media pretends like they're the only team, Canadian team in the NHL. Oh, my most hated NHL player. Yeah. Oh man. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't hate Brad Marchand. I think I'd love him on the Oilers. We could use a fucking guy that pisses people off and is an agitator. I don't really hate him. I think some of the things he does are a little wild and crazy and out there, but he has skills and can play the game too. So I think that makes him being an agitator even more so because you've got a guy that can burn you on the scoreboard, but he can also chirp and talk to you. I don't really hate him. Honestly, I don't know. For a while, I would probably zero in on Ryan Getzlav, Corey Perry, Ryan Kessler, that fucking Ducks team. And Bieksa was a part of that. Although I like Kevin Bieksa off the ice, but I fucking couldn't stand him on the ice. Those are probably the guys that bothered me the most, and it's because we had that playoff series with the Ducks there, and couldn't stand them. I mean, I don't really hate Matthew Tkachuk in Calgary. He plays a role. He does his job fairly well. I don't see him as a real dirty hockey player. So it's, he's an agitator. Yeah, he's good at his job. Yeah, so probably not him. Yeah, I don't know. Probably Getzlav. And I don't really think Getzlav's dirty. I just think he he works the angles and pushes referees the most. And oh, my favorite non-Oiler. Yeah, these questions are good and a little bit hard. I focus so much of my attention on my team that I don't really pay attention too much to other guys. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm seem to be in the thick of Flyer heaven, so it's probably going to sting. But I've always liked Sidney Crosby. Um, I think some of the things that Sidney can do with his frame, because he isn't the biggest guy in the world, but he's strong on his feet. Low center of gravity, powerful skater. A couple of years ago, it was an easy answer. It honestly was Jerome McGinley. I don't know. I really like Duncan Keith from the Blackhawks. He's a great skater, great passer, and toothless wonder. I've liked Duncan Keith for a long time, but I don't know. Yeah, good question. I tend to, gravitate towards guys that can do more than put pucks in the net. True power forward type players, but I don't really see a lot of that in the league anymore. I guess Ovechkin could fit into that category, but he just doesn't fight that much. But the last time he fought, he tore that rookie a fucking new asshole. So, oh, my cup prediction: if it was all gonna start right now, I honestly, you might be into another scenario where it would be Bruins and the Blues again, both playing pretty good hockey. Yeah, they did a remake of Boys on the Bus, and I've never seen that. I just stick with the classic one. But there was like a Boys on the Bus 2 or something like that. I never got into it. I never watched it. Yeah, it's funny, but I will probably every hockey game I ever go to or play, I always watch at least the moment in time video before I go to a hockey game. Even now, if I'm playing. Yeah, oil change too. Yeah, oil change. Change the oil. Drill for some new oil. How many games do I go to a year? It depends. I mean, I live 4 hours away from Edmonton now, so I don't I don't go that much anymore. But probably 4 or 5 a year, I would say. Yeah, I don't fall into the deserve a cup kind of thought process. I mean, if that was true, Vancouver or Toronto or whatever, or even Winnipeg, it would be their turn. You make your breaks. You go and you do it. You work hard and you get it done. You need some luck and you need some bounces and whatever. But thoughts on the Devils? Yeah. the other night when we played New Jersey, I thought PK Subban had actually a couple of fucking dangerous shots from the point, but nothing went in, and it seemed like they were trying to get P. I don't know what their problem is there. They don't seem like a bad hockey team, but it looks like they're looking to guys like PK or Taylor Hall to do everything, and it's just not happening. I mean, in Edmonton, we kind of have the same thing. I mean, a lot of times it's if Connor or Leon are going, then chances are we're going to have a good night. But if they aren't, then it's not that often where other guys will sort of carry the load and get it done. So I don't know. I think Elliot Friedman coming out with, I think it was like October 13th or something, that the Devils were possibly going to move Taylor Hall. I think that was really premature. I don't see them, bailing on kind of their team in October, but now we're moving into November. I think December, January comes along and they haven't really, pushed the needle or went forward at all, then yeah, things could start to happen, but I think it was way too premature for kind of the talk that was going on early. Oh man, are we making the playoffs this season? Ask me that in 2 weeks, when November's over. If we're sitting, 5-6 games above 500, then yeah, I think so. I think it happens, but I think it's still too early to give a definitive answer that yeah, we're making the playoffs. But in saying that, I guess I'm a bit of a hypocrite, because I did a podcast with another guy before the season even started and said I thought we would scratch our way into the playoffs. I still think that's a definite possibility, but to come number one out of the West or win the Pacific, I don't know. Vancouver, yeah, they're a young, fast team, and honestly, I think Jacob Markstrom is actually a pretty capable goalie. He gives them a fighting chance, usually night in and night out, except for when he's facing 3-on-0s against the Blues and whatnot. But that was a fucking crazy play. You won't see that again very often. I've seen 3-on-0s before, but not too often you see a 3-on-0 in overtime. Like that, it was a pinball wizard kind of play behind the net. Two Canucks crashed into each other and they both went down, and St. Louis just trotted down the ice and put in the hole. The other night, though, when they played fucking Winnipeg, the net was pulled and there was like a tic-tac-toe passing play on that. Instead of the guy that originally had the puck just shooting it in the net, he passed this other guy. The other guy passed it back to him and he tapped it in. 15 years ago, that ends up in a fucking bench-clearing brawl, and you're having paramedics to have to come out and sort them out. Now it's just, okay. That goal reminded me of, like, I play sometimes EA NHL, 19 or whatever against my youngest son, and when you're beating him pretty badly or whatever, he'll pull your goalie so that he can tie the game up and that kind of stuff. Like, crazy. Yeah, people kind. Yeah, that's the thing today that fucking caught the. Oh man, the Twitterverse on fire today was Cherry's speech on Saturday night there. That got everybody in a frenzy today. Oh, and I don't know. The way I sort of look at all that is Don has been Don for what 40, 50 years. Like it's been the same shtick for forever. I mean, it's nothing new. I kind of feel like you know he he's Archie Bunker. Let's face it, he's Archie Bunker, and he's not going to change. That's who he is, and he's going to continue to be that guy until he goes. So, I mean, people can either decide to accept it, and he's an old guy or whatever, or you can be angry at him. I don't think what he said is right. I called him out on it because I think it was discriminatory. I think these people that are saying, well, at least he didn't show up in blackface. I think there's hypocrisy in that. I think what Trudeau did was fucking way offside and wrong, and I think what Don did was offside and wrong too. I don't think either one of them are better than the other. They're just both not right. Uh, I think Cherry's receiving flack for what he said, and I think he said it. He needs to own it. But I don't want to see the man crucified for it. Trudeau got reelected because people in Ontario and Quebec didn't think what he did was bad enough for him to lose his job. I think it's kind of the same thing. I don't know. I think he needs to be a little bit more responsible with what comes out of his mouth because he's in front of a national audience, and he's not just talking to Tom and Dick down at the Legion. But I think the general point he was trying to make was right. I mean, buy your poppy, support your veterans. That should have been all that really needed to be said. You can put a little bit of fire and passion into it, but I don't think those Trudeau photos are photoshopped at all. I think it's I think that speaks to the tone deafness of our prime minister. It's yeah, it's wrong. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I like our I like our country the way. Well, I shouldn't say the way it is. There's a definite Western neglect that goes on, but personally, I don't want to become the 51st state. And my this has gone way offside from hockey talk, but um, when you get into the whole Alberta separatist movement and that kind of stuff, my personal feelings on that is you wouldn't survive as a nation unless you have access to a seaport. There's many different ways to do that, but you need to secure that before any of that would be a success and be able to be self-sufficient. Otherwise, it's doomed to failure. I think a lot of the people that are on this sort of Alberta separatist train aren't really deep thinkers. They're just angry. I get the anger and I get the frustration, but you're just talking nonsense if you don't think the whole thing through. Yeah, no. Cherry definitely could have worded what he said better. That's Don. He's straightforward. He's abrupt. He's in your face, and he's a little bit controversial. But that's Don. Yeah. I, you know what? I tend not to really dabble in too much into sort of the political stuff because I find that's probably the subject that angers people more than anything. I mean, yeah, I think it's a more divisive subject. than religion or atheism or any of that. It just kind of gets I don't know. We've become like a society that's really afraid to talk and listen. You can't have a differing viewpoint than somebody else without people getting mad. It's I don't know. It's kind of fucked up. Yeah, I don't know. Our society, like it's like if you have a differing viewpoint, then we have to have rage involved and anger and I don't know. Afraid to talk to people, I guess. And like I look at a lot of what people will say. If you're a conservative, you're a racist. If you're a liberal, you're a libtard. Is the the buzzword. We're just people. We can have different views. You can be on a different side of the political fence. I don't think you're an idiot or messed up or uneducated or anything like that. You're entitled to your opinion. Doesn't mean I have to share it, but doesn't mean you're stupid or or any of that. You know, and we're quick to think that if you're a little bit further on the conservative end, then you're a Nazi, and you're burning crosses and just all this shit. Like we're so fucked up. Like we have no clue, how bad it really was in Nazi Germany to be Jewish, or to be a person of color, or to not be an able-bodied person there, or any of that, and to lump like people in modern day society in with that same crowd that was shooting people because they were different, like you're a farmer plucking a gopher in the field. It's I don't know. That's one of the scary parts of our society, is how detached really we've become from reality, and bothers me. Some days I just want to go, and there's lots of areas outside of where I live where I can be away from everything real quickly, and everything gets real quiet real quickly. Because if you get really kind of soaked in with society and people's words and rhetoric and people's bullshit, really it can drag you down and be really depressing. Oh man, yeah. I really when it comes to news programs and stuff like that, I can get away from a lot of North American media. Honestly, if I am gonna sit down and watch the news, generally I'll watch BBC News, because when I find with like CBC, CTV, CNN, NBC, Fox News, all of that, like every fucking North American media outlet, all they want to talk about is did Trump fart today in the White House? Like I don't really give a shit. There's more going on in the world than one man. We've got such a Trump fixation, or Trudeau, or any of this. There's so much more that goes on in the world that, like, get me out of here. I find with BBC they have like a more global outlook on things, and they'll talk about atrocities that happened today in Africa and stuff like that, and it's not just like what happened in Washington D.C. or in Ottawa today. The real news isn't what's the pencil pushers in office are doing. Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't know. The Alberta separatist movement is not well thought out. Yeah, yeah. Mike in 2020. Yeah, You know what it'll be is it'll be Mike grabbing a shotgun and a 30-06 and a bunch of shells and bullets and going to Costco and raiding you know raiding the chunky soup can aisle, and Mike's going to the bush. Fuck everybody else. Yeah, and a few dozen cases of banquet. Taking the quad and going to the bush. Fuck everybody. Wolverines. Yeah. No, I don't know. I'm conservative, but I'm close to the anarchy side of a conservative. So yeah, it's I don't know. It's yeah, awesome. The bush down in Florida would probably be a little bit more appealing than the bush up here in Alberta, but it is pretty up in the mountains, and I'm about an hour away from that. So lots of fish, lots of moose, lots of caribou, deer, elk. Yeah, I definitely survive. Plus 17 and you're cold. I think I'm 34 degrees different than you right now. I'll just have a C on that. Oh man. Oh, she's minus 25 degrees in the grandest prairie of them all right now. So I am 34 degrees different than you, my man. Or sorry, 39. Oh, yeah. That's 41 degrees different. Who am I talking about? Yuck. I think it's supposed to be warmer tomorrow. I have to. I drive a 5-ton truck at work now, and we just got it. Um, Last week we got it spray foam insulated on the inside. So, because I haul glue and stuff like that, and it needs to be above freezing so the glue doesn't freeze. So tomorrow I have to go into that truck and kind of put plywood back on where they did the spray foam, and we just have like a little electric heater in there, and there's like a little propane heater in there I can use too if it's not warm. But now that it's insulated, if that electric heater and the door's shut, it'll warm up. So, but anyway, I'm gonna go in there and lock myself in there tomorrow and kind of mount the plywood back up to the side walls of it. So that's my day tomorrow. I guess we're after midnight, so I should say Happy Veterans Day to you down there in the good old US of A, and Happy Remembrance Day up here. Yeah, I don't know if I can do every game, but I'll try to do a little bit more than what I have been. Kind of life's been a little bit busier lately, but I appreciate everybody coming here to chat hockey, whether it's Flyer talk, Oiler talk. Some hard hitting questions for Michael tonight that I wasn't expecting, like who's my favorite player outside of the Oilers and that kind of good stuff. I like watching. Brian brought up Ovi, and I like watching Ovechkin when he's kind of set up shop in his spots there and shooting the puck. He sort of has like a little bit of a Brett Hall kind of like mentality towards him, where he finds his spots and he just lets it fly, and it's kind of cool. I I noticed too early in the season this year with Draisaitl, he's a little bit that way now too. He'll take one timers like off of one leg and one knee and whatever, and I don't think he has quite the velocity of Ovechkin, but he is becoming a pretty accurate and lethal shooter in his own right. Still was pretty cool to be in Calgary last year to see him get his 50th, ironically, against Mike Smith and the Flames. Kind of only, I'm not really questioning because it's sort of working, but I've noticed too lately they've kind of limited James Neal's power play time there and kind of put Chase on out in his place. And I don't know if they're just trying to get Chase on going or if they've noticed something in Neal's game or what, but Neal's been on fire on the power play, so I don't know if I would tinker too much with that. It's probably one of my critiques right now of Dave Tippett, but anyway, gang, like my grandpa used to say, you're all good looking, but I'm going home. I am at home, but I think I'm gonna call her a night. So like I always wrap with, and if you've been here before, you know what I'm gonna say, but if you haven't, keep your sticks on the ice and keep reaching for the stars. Have a good night. Peace.